Alright, I'm back, and the lobby is already up. Both teams are in, the broadcasters are in, so I believe it'll be a relatively short delay here before Game 2 is underway. And with next to no delay, we are underway for Game 2. I'll be interested to see how Team Gemini decide to counter the hard AoE team fight of Here Comes the Cobra, and whether or not they'll be looking to change up their ban order or stick to what they know, ban out some of the popular 684 heroes, and go from there, or if they do some combination of that and pick up some of these strong Cobra heroes for themselves to kind of deny pick them. They do ban out the Leshrac, which definitely fits the bill as an AoE team fight hero and popular in 684, so not too surprising. Cobra, however, banning out the Earthshaker, which is a hero that they utilized in their last team fight synergy. So obviously they don't want Team Gemini to get it, for reasons we'll probably find here shortly. Undying banned out is the second ban from Team Gemini.
Winter Wyvern.
And Cobra this turn opts to first pick the Winter Wyvern. So Winter, a very popular hero. He's feeling the love. He's not so popular that he's getting first round banned, but he is popular enough that he's been the first hero picked by both teams in both of these games so far.
10 seconds remaining.
Now Team Gemini taking a little bit of extra time here for their first picks. They lost that first fight pretty one-handedly, so they want to make sure that whatever they pick here, they're going to get off to a strong start. They're analyzing what synergies Cobra could be coming at them with here, with the ban-outs of the Bloodseeker, Earthshaker, and the pickup of Winter. By itself, though, that's not too telling of a hand. They're eating into some of the reserve time here, and they're down to about 60-70 seconds of reserve time. They continue with first picking some of their supports. They pick up the Witch Doctor. He's one of those heroes that's just always in the mix. He has a stun, but not a perfect stun, not a great stun. He has a heal, but not a great heal. He has a nuke in the form of his ultimate, but it's a nuke that requires it to be channeled, so it can be easily disrupted. So he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none.
Zeus.
The Maledict always acting as a good damage amplifier, and if used with proper timing alongside a Zeus, you can see a lot of damage get dropped right away, and the Maledict will continue to act as almost like a poison or dot damage as people run for their lives after the hard Zeus ultimate drops them down to usually around half.
Radiant team ban.
Real quickly, the Dire ban out AA, and they pick up Axe. You can tell Here Comes the Cobra know what heroes that they plan on picking up, almost regardless of what Team Gemini are picking.
10 seconds remaining.
So far we have
5 seconds remaining.
a slow and a tank in the form of Winter and Axe on the side of Here Comes the Cobra, and some hard magical damage on the side of Team Gemini.
Dire team ban.
Zeus is a popular mid hero, so I expect to see him in that lane, but I was wrong about the laning of Team Gemini in the previous game, so I might be wrong about them again here. I suspected the Invoker to pick up the mid slot, and he went to the off lane. So I'm calling Zeus in the mid lane this game, and we'll see if I'm wrong about that. Meanwhile, a couple of the additional bans come out. Oh, see, I'm doing it again.
Dire team pick.
Giving you guys the small draft screen. But we're back. Gyrocopter and Silencer banned out by the side of Dire and Radiant respectively. Lion picked up by Team Gemini. And so far that puts them at 3 int heroes. So, and all of them very susceptible to silence. So I would say the Silence and even the Queen of Pain ban by Team Gemini are a very good call. Because you take those 3 heroes and you take away their ability to cast, and they are nothing but relatively crappy ranged creeps sitting on the side of the Radiant. So good ban out on the Silencer. Definitely wouldn't want to fight into that. Sand King picked up on the side of Here Comes the Cobra. So we'll get a little Darude action in the game. And Team Gemini thinking about their 4th pickup here.
10 seconds remaining.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
They dip into their reserve time, and they got a minute left here, so Team Cobra is still sitting on a minute 42 of their reserve time. You can tell they know what heroes they want. Team Gemini, after their first loss in Game 1 here, are taking a bit longer, and that's their 3rd consecutive loss so far in this league, the AD2L league, with Cobra Boys sitting on a 3-game win streak. I have no idea what the prize pool is, but I'm sure it's bragging rights plus other. And here comes the Cobra.
10 seconds remaining.
Definitely, here comes the Cobra or Cobra Boys, depending on where you look. In-game, it's Cobra Boys. On the AD2L tournament brackets, they're listed as Here Comes the Cobra. So the first non-int hero picked up by Team Gemini, and it's Treant Protector. They're down to just 6 seconds in the reserve time, so I don't know if that was one of 2 or 3 options that they were playing around with, and they decided, hey, we're out of time, we just need to pick one. Or if they finally came to that conclusion that they want a Treant Protector, but we'll find out here. Slark picked up by Cobra Boys. It's going to give them some agility in the mix, and we're into our final rounds of bans.
10 seconds remaining.
Slark, in my opinion, one of the most snowbally heroes in the game, and he's a hero who likes to leap in, do damage, steal stats, take a bit of damage, get out of the fight, and then with his ultimate Shadow Dance, use that bonus movement speed and what feels like a massive health regen to gather up his strength, recompose himself, and then re-engage. Cobra Boys banning out a Phantom Lancer, with Team Gemini banning out a Wind Ranger. We're into our final picks here. Team Gemini down to 16 seconds overall for their pick. So by the time they eat up this hero pick time, which is in 3, 2, 1, they're in the last bits of their reserve time here. So they're down to 3 seconds, 2, and at the final Final
Team
hour,
pick.
they pick Sven. So, a lot of stuns sitting there on Team Gemini. You got the one true stun on Sand King, but you have a few other odd control mechanisms in the form of Pounce and Berserker's Call for the other more core heroes on Dire side. But and then a fan favorite, Pudge, being picked up and immediately chosen by Casey, who will once again be sitting in the middle lane. And we will see him likely be going up against the Zeus. So get into game right away. We have Dot Kite playing the Treant Protector. Evo, EV440, playing the Lion. Polyrhythm on the Witch Doctor. Firehawk sitting on the hard carry of Sven. And it looks like a little bit of delay coming out of the room there. And Xylopia sitting on Zeus. On the Dire side, we have Axe, who has it looks like my exact Axe cosmetic items. Some slightly different
30
stuff.
seconds to
He doesn't
battle.
have the little blink dagger, but the mythical axe and the old immortal helm from last year's TI. See if there's going to be any fighting here. The remaining 4 members of Here Comes the Cobra sitting in the top room. You have Casey on Pudge, Loose Puss on Slark, Wayne's World sitting on the Darude, and Sonics sitting on Winter Ribbon as
Where did
support.
that horn come from?
Axe is going to back off. Let the bot room get picked up by the Zeus, who's heading mid. Pudge picks it up on KC on the side of the Dire. Ping's coming out. Both teams here. They do drop a fairly aggressive observer ward on the high ground of the Dire side of the map, so that Radiant have vision, so Zeus can see all of this now. So you can see what kind of vision Zeus is working with here at the start of the match, which is big. That's very, very critical to have against a Pudge. Then he's not able to leverage that into those angled hooks and catch Zeus out of position quite so easily. Sand King trying to zone out the Treant Protector a little bit, and we'll see if he dips into the jungle. Robin Socks with his Ring of Protection sitting on 5 armor early in the match, along with a Stout Shield, but the stuns do come out. You have the first stun from Line, but no follow-up from the Witch Doctor, no cast yet. They are circling around him though, playing Ring Around the Rosie with Axe, but he will happily do that against a couple inties early on in the game. Pings coming out from Treant, and both teams picking up the first rune. You have Witch Doctor protecting it here for Zeus, and Zeus doing work against this Pudge. So Pudge does not yet have his bottle. It looks like it might be on its way. There it is, along with some sentry wards if they do happen to be heading the way of the Pudge. We'll see here. Nope, he just takes the bottle and leaves the sentry wards there. Popping over to the last hit stats. A little bit in favor of Dire's side currently, but Zeus definitely hanging in there, especially against the Pudge. They're both at 11 last hits. And the Chain Lightnings, or Arc Lightnings rather, doing work against the Pudge, keeping him at bay. He's still sitting on full mana. I haven't seen him really attempt to hook yet. So I don't know what the accuracy is going to be there. We'll find out, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll be coming. If he's just as aggressive on his Pudge as he is on his Queen of Pain, I'm sure they will be frequent and fast acting. And I will miss every hook that he throws, if it's anything like Game 1. We got Winter doing a stack pull here. He's gonna get it off. That'll pull the creep equilibrium back. And yep, as I mentioned, or as I predicted, I missed First Blood yet again. Too busy watching the stacked Ancients. But the heavy stun advantage of Radiant paying off in the form of First Blood. They are able to drop Axe, and it looked like both heroes were there to help, or both supports were there to help facilitate that. So heavy stuns, dropping the Axe.
Dire's bottom
For
tower
First Blood
is
going the
under
way up. I
attack.
believe it was Sven who got the actual kill. Yep.
Dire's bottom tower is
There's
under attack.
Casey's first hook, and it is slightly off the mark. Our first hook that I've seen. Meanwhile, Sand King rotates away from the lane, gets into the jungle, which is probably a good call. I don't think the Slark really needs that much help or that much protection going up one-on-one against the Treant Protector. But as I say that, those two supports and the heavy stun combination rotate to the top lane, as Winter rotates to the bottom lane to help try to protect Axe. He hasn't made his appearance known, so everyone's probably still suspecting him in the top lane. They do drop an Observer Ward in the jungle, and they're rotating through, seeing if they can't find someone here in the Radiant jungle. But they're going to be sad to see no one's there. They ping out the mid lane, so they're probably going to rotate here to see if they can't pick off Zeus. And finally tip the odds of this middle lane in favor of the Dire team. And here comes the Cobra on the map for the first time, but Zeus's ears must be burning because he immediately rotates away from danger into the top rune, and Dot Kite, with the assistance of the stun duo, are able to drop Slark, who was left unprotected as the Dire team tried to make some aggressive moves in the Radiant jungle. Firehawk back in lane, back to farming.
Old friends.
I'm slightly off the mark here tonight, guys. I apologize. But Pudge is able to land another hook, and he picks off another support. There was the dismember. You could hear the global sound there. That was probably being used against Zeus to drop him first. But that evens up the scoreboard. They are able to get Zeus and Witch Doctor. That's not as good a pick-off as what Team Gemini are currently sitting on, having already dropped the Axe and Slark, a bit more core to the hero composition of Here Comes the Cobra, but it does even up the scoreboards. Quick glimpse at the net worth. You still have a slight favorite here on the form of the Radiant. Dismember comes off on Firehawk, who's slowly burning down. He pops the wand. He's alive, but he's heading back into danger. Pudge throws a hook at him, but it misses. It connects to the Witch Doctor. Zeus pops his ult and is able to drop the Axe in the meantime. But Casey on the Pudge, looking for that Sven, is offered a consolation prize in the form of a Witch Doctor, and they'll take it. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Witch Doctor for Axe. Witch Doctor stepping in front of the not-so-proverbial bullet there for Sven to protect him. But Pudge hasn't gone anywhere. He's still very much here. They see him in the side chop. Winter looking to slow him down. Sven pops his stun. It's followed by Lion Stun and rotations coming out here from the side of Radiant. Treant Protector here. He does not... Oh, he doesn't pop his ult in time, rather, but he does catch 3 with it after the Lion falls. They're able to drop Winter for Lion so far. It's a 1-for-1. They're looking to chase down and finish this Pudge, but Axe is just standing in the way of Firehawk, saying, nah, no thanks, I'm going to block you like a creep wave.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Axe zigzagging around, trying to get around him. But Axe too big, too meaty. He's not able to get through. Casey connects with another hook against the Witch Doctor. That's 3 against the Witch Doctor so far. So he's definitely feeling the wrath of Casey here. Even if it's not always intentionally aimed for Witch Doctor, they're connecting on him. I'd say 2 of the 3 that I've seen so far were intentionally targeting Witch Doctor. That last one was, or not that last one, but that one near the Tier 1 tower when Sven dove into the side pocket here. Definitely intended for the Sven. But the Dire Ward here providing that Pudge that additional vision that he needed to see the Witch Doctor. Just chasing after the Zeus there with the hook. No Force Staff, no Blink Dagger yet, so he's not quite able to close the gap. Double damage pinged out by the Dire team, but there's going to be a little bit of a fight over it. Treant Protector picks it up just to deny it from Here Comes the Cobra, but Pudge rotates over, throws the hook slightly off the mark. Meanwhile, while all of this has been going down, Slark's been relatively quietly farming in the top lane, and he's leveraged that time and space to take the last hit lead, sitting at 46 last hits, slightly above the next closest in the form of Zeus, followed by the 3 other Dire cores. You have some hardcore diving here coming from the side of the Radiant. They are able to pick off Axe again, but they will lose a Lion and Sven in the process as Pudge rotates over from mid lane, and everyone else from Here Comes the Cobra rotate in through teleport. So they're all in the bottom lane here except for the Sand King, who's continuing to jungle farm. Kite dips into the bottom pocket here, wary of any Pudge hooks, as he should be, because Pudge is on the hunt, he's on the prowl. Looking around that Tier 1 tower, ready for any hero to poke their head out to defend the tower. You have Axe on the side of Here Comes the Cobra, pinging out the tower, saying, hey, let's push this. But 2 supports in place of Kite. And Living Armor ready to be cast. It's full strength. He's got 4 points into it, which is going to give a nice armor boost to that tower. Axe pinging out the jungle here on the bottom, saying, I know they're in there. I don't know who, but I know there's a couple in there. Zeus opens up with his ult, and a Cask Maledict drops. Pudge hooks the Lion, but he and Axe are clumped together, so the Sven stun hits 2. And so far, it's a 1-for-0 trade as Lion goes down. Winter Wyvern does catch out the loose puss on the Slark for a little bit, so he's regenning. Winter Wyvern goes down on the side of Here Comes the Cobra, and it looks like everyone else is just going to make a run for it. But KC still sitting here, still looking to terrorize the supports on the side of Team Gemini. Zeus, meanwhile, is able to finish off the middle Tier 1 tower for the Radiant side. All in all, a relatively even exchange there. They are able to defend the Tier 1 tower. It's still sitting at half health, and with living armor available, they'll be able to regen towers like crazy. All of the Tier 1 towers sitting at pretty much full health except for this bottom one. I see Pudge hook an Axe, and immediately Team Gemini pounce on the misplay of the Pudge there, throw a couple stuns, and explode the Axe. So you got a Sven stun and a Lion stun coming out that way. 2 sentry wards. Those are both sentry, right? Yeah, they are. Dropped in very quick succession of one another in essentially the exact same place. Lion walking right in front of the Pudge, but he is able to get a stun off before the Dismember lands. And a ton of nuke damage coming out from the side of Team Gemini, and they continue to do so. They drop Winter, they drop Sand King, Pudge rotates back in, tries to land a hook himself, but it's slightly off the mark. His Force Staff is up, so he'll dip into the creep wave and force himself to the low ground and to safety. So a 3-for-0 fight going the way of Team Gemini. They're looking much stronger this game than they did in Game 1, and with that there's another 1,000 gold going in their favor. And they're kind of positioning around this Axe. It looks like they want more, but Lion pokes his head out, scares Axe, who will fall back to his tower, and wait for these Tranquil Boots to provide him the regen he needs to get back into the fight. That last team fight did swing the match, and it is now a relatively even playing field for both teams, sitting at 10 kills on Team Gemini versus 8 on Team Here Comes the Cobra, aka Cobra Boys. So Game 2 looking a lot closer, like it could be anyone's game so far. The experience advantage also takes a massive swing, about 2,000 plus, in favor of Team Gemini, and they're sitting on equal ground. The Slark's sitting at an 0-2, and Axe sitting on a 1-4 start. It's going to kind of delay those heroes from getting the items they need. Claymore picked up by Slark, and he's sitting on about 500 more gold. But Axe, presumably working towards his Blink Dagger, is sitting with Tranquil Boots and a Stout Shield, and that's it so far. He's died quite a few times in rapid succession here in the bot lane. There's some rotations from Cobra Boys coming to see if they can't turn the tides. A Blink Force Staff from the Sand King and the Pudge, but Treant's there and waiting in the shadows. He pops Overgrowth, but it's not enough to save the Sven. They do pick up the Sven, but Sand King pays the price. Zeus rotates bot. He's throwing Arc Lightnings around. They position near the tower. Pudge doubles back to see if he can't pick off one of the squishier ints on the side of Team Gemini, but they're not in position to be picked off. So a 1-for-1 trade. They're traded a Sven for a Sand King. That hurts Team Gemini a little bit just because they don't have as many hard carries, and the Sand King is kind of a core. He's a pseudo core on the team of Here Comes the Cobra, who's been farming the jungle for the bulk of the laning phase of this game. Winter picking up some free experience himself in the Dire safe lane. He is able to get level 6. He's got Winter's Curse now. And he pings out the Sven saying, hey guys, their hard carries rotated top. But here comes the Cobra, don't care. The bot lane. And the hard magic damage coming out from Team Gemini drops the Winter Wyvern even inside of his Cold Embrace, and they're going to start pressuring this Tier 1 tower. Dukite sitting at plus 11, or plus 7 armor for a total of 11. Tanking the tower, not caring. Stuns coming out onto Dukite, but not much damage being done. The sustain is pretty solid here from the Radiant side, but Casey is able to get into the jungle, or get into the woods and land a hook against the one, the only Witch Doctor. And they're able to drop him in the woods. But it looks like the Dire side might be taking some damage of their own. Lion's landing multiple stuns against the Pudge. He is eventually able to drop him, but not before Pudge and Axe both kind of work together to drop off this Dukite on the Treant Protector. So it's a 2-for-1. I'll just show you guys. Relatively even gold exchange, a little bit more experience going in favor of Here Comes the Cobra. But that doesn't factor in the Tier 1 tower that was lost by the side of Cobra Boys either. So I'd say pretty even. 2 heroes for a hero in a tower. And all the tier 1 towers on the Radiant side on Team Gemini are sitting in pretty good health. I would like to see this Treant pop that living armor on cooldown on this bottom tower, get it back up to full health. He's not doing anything with it right now. None of his allies are really in any danger, so might as well use it to heal up the tower. Sven sitting on a double damage rune, gonna use it to make quick work of some of the neutral camps. While Cobra Boys group up for what looks to be a push into the middle lane. Axe pinging out the Sven and Zeus right behind the tier 1. And then they shift their gaze onto the squishier int targets that are sitting in the bot lane. But Dotkite suspecting it, he's making the rotation as well. We'll likely see a collision here in the jungle. They do. He pops armor on himself proactively, but Pudge is there. He lands the Dismember, the Tackle Pudge. Zeus pops his ult. Damage going out on the entire Dire team. And they're committing for this Treant Protector, but he does already have his mechanism, so he's able to pop that. Sand King coming in with his ultimate, but a huge team fight coming out on the side of Team Gemini, dropping 4 of the 5 Cobra Boy heroes. It did require all 5 Team Gemini heroes to be there, but well worth it. They dropped Dotkite, who's the sacrificial lamb between living armor, his magic wand, and mechanism. He is able to tank all 4 heroes for the bulk of that fight. All the while, Slark, excuse me, making mincemeat out of a witch doctor, is what I was about to say. All the while, Slark continuing to farm, continuing to get the additional items and gold he needs, as well as dropping the first tower for the side of Here Comes the Cobra in the form of the tier 1 top tower. So he picked up an Oblivion Staff. I suspect he'll be going the way of an Orchid here to silence some of the multiple stuns and the Zeus nuke that are sitting on Team Gemini. So far it looks like Here Comes the Cobra. I was gonna say hardcore Cobra, but the team fight potential of Team Gemini is a little bit stronger than Here Comes the Cobra. At least they've been able to execute it a little better, and it's likely due to the plethora of stuns that Team Gemini have. They have a stun on every hero. I think I think the mini stun from Lightning Bolt was removed a couple patches ago. Nope, it still has a mini stun, causing damage and a mini stun. Witch Doctor placing a ward, spots out a big rotation from Here Comes the Cobra, and another team fight ensues. Only this time it looks like it's going to go the way of Cobra Boys. Witch Doctor is able to place his ward, he's channeling it, but Slark shifts his focus over to the Witch Doctor, drops him real quick, but Sven with his ult doing massive damage and massive cleave damage. So as all these heroes are clumped up, they're taking group damage, and with the last 2 swings he's going to be able to finish off the remaining 2 heroes of Winter and Zeus. So again, huge team clash, full 5 versus 5. And Team Gemini's team fight potential is just a little bit stronger. It's that much stronger. Look like Cobra Boys, we're trying to focus the stunners, the supports, and the int nuke damage of Team Gemini in order to keep the fight in their control. But the support's able to get off just enough spells to allow this Sven to finish up the remainder of the Cobra Boys heroes. And let's take a look at the net worth charts to see where that places in. Yep, and in a clear favorite, 1,800 gold in front of the Slark, even though, as we saw with the... Oh, if I can click anything. Even though the last hit's definitely a strong strongly favoring the Slark on the side of being played by Loose Puss. So Loose Puss versus Firehawk here. You do not want to see a Sven get 6 slotted, because then he is just immortal. Well, even more so than some of the Abaddons and Wraith Kings who have immortality items in their mix. Because he just does such... With God's Strength providing a 200% bonus damage, it scales very well into the late game. Doesn't matter how many flesh heap stacks Pudge has, eventually that Sven will just start cutting through them. Both teams taking a little bit of a breather here, trying to farm in relative protection after that big team fight. I think both of them are relatively nervous to engage, and rightfully so. Cobra boys have lost the last 2 team fights, and Team Gemini want to make sure that they are capitalizing on this. Their first advantage of 2 games, but Pudge, by the skin of his teeth, does catch Sven in a hook, dismembers him, but the allies on the Radiant side are here to protect him. BKB popped by Firehawk, throws the stun in Pudge's face, and Dire just have to back off. Not sure if Pudge thought his allies were a little bit closer, or if Sven just didn't have that much raw HP yet. But with 1700, he's definitely sitting on it. Blink Dagger is there for Axe, but Sand King pops his ult and tries to get in there, but he has to walk. Dakai rotates behind the tower, pops an ult on 3 or 4 heroes. Axe drops right away. Firehawk sitting at comfortable half health, just doing massive cleave damage. Lion fingering down the Slark, he'll fall. A stun, yet another stun coming out on the way of the Radiant side. Does pick off Sonics on Winter Wyvern, but Pudge, being a benevolent teammate, saves him with a hook. He then buys him enough time to Frozen Embrace himself, and he forces the support onto the high ground. But with that engagement, Team Gemini are going to be able to take a Tier 2 tower, their first Tier 2 tower of the game, and as a 5-man squad, they rotate bot. They say, hey, we still have 15 seconds till Slark pops up, and they're going to have to defend this mid anyway, so their Tier 3 doesn't take damage. Let's see what we can do against this tower. All of the ultimates on the side of Team Gemini are down except for Sven's. Trans Protector just gets his ult. But Cobra boys aren't going to let this tower go down without a fight, so they rotate down, and Team Gemini back off. They say, hey, we took the team fight, we took the Tier 2 mid, we did damage to the bot. Let's continue to leverage this gold advantage. And it continues in their favor. Cobra's trying to swing it back in their way every once in a while with a kill or two, but then there's just a poor team fight or a tower that goes the way of Team Gemini, and they make it back and then some each time so far. Gold advantage, relatively even still, 3,000, or excuse me, experience advantage. Relatively even, 3,000 at the 30-minute mark, going in favor of Radiant, but that's not a whole lot. Winter sitting on the Invis rune, kind of just protecting some of his allies, providing additional vision. Team Gemini, smoke up. There's 5. They draw on the map that they're heading into the jungle. Heading right past the wards that are going to provide a false sense of security for Cobra boys. They do immediately explode the Winter Wyvern. They catch the Sand King with his pants down farming in the jungle. Zeus ult is expended to kind of provide him vision, and they know that there's others up here. They might see the courier. Witch Doctor sees it, but he has weak little girly arms. He cannot kill the courier. So the strength heroes on the side of Cobras teleport out, make it home safely. And Slark goes back to what he's been doing the entire game, which is kind of playing a bit of rat Dota and constantly pushing in the off lane. You do have Treant Protector rotating bot to protect his tower, provide it living armor, and see if he can scare off the Slark, which he does for now, while the rest of his team kind of hangs out in the top lane. A lot of credit to the Polyrhythm and EV440 on the supports of Team Gemini here, providing good protection for the Sven and just doing what supports are supposed to do, which is in those team fights, make sure you cast all of your spells before exploding and dying. So they are able to usually get off their stuns, and I've seen a lot of Witch Doctor ultis coming out and channeled for a fair duration, usually not the full length, especially if Slark is anywhere nearby. Slark seems to have a personal vendetta against Polyrhythm's Witch Doctor, and he'll use his invisibility, his Shadow Dance, to kind of sneak into the back lanes where Witch Doctor is trying to hang out and channel from safety. Team Gemini set up, ready to defend this mid tower with a vengeance, but it doesn't really look like Cobra Boys are ready to push it. They only have 3 heroes in the mid lane. Looks like they're trying to half bait out some engagement from the Sven, but all the supports are sitting there right in the wings of Sven. So if they do decide to go on this Sven, which it looks like they are, the supports are there to protect him. They drop out the ward, and they know something's going on in these woods over here. So Zeus lightning bolts it out, but the Sand King and the Winter Wyvern had already rotated out. Pudge lands yet another hook against the Witch Doctor, so he'll go down, and a team fight ensues. Sand King pops his ultimate, gets a 4-person stun, massive damage coming out. This might be the fight that they're looking for. They're able to drop 3, but Sven's still sitting at pretty much full strength. He popped BKB, able to help cleave down that, not Sven, the Sand King and the Pudge. Meanwhile, Winter Wyvern buys himself a little bit of space, enough to teleport the short distance back to his base inside of his little half jungle area here. So they lost 2 supports and a Zeus. They were able to drop a Sand King and a Pudge. Those Pudge hooks seem to be on point for the Witch Doctor, who is now sitting at a painful 2-8, but he's got 13 assists. So it's a crappy life to live as the Witch Doctor, sitting with only 2 real items, the mana boots for his allies, and an ogre club just to buy him a little bit of strength so he dies in 2 seconds instead of 1. But he also has the dust, the smoke, the magic wand, and a couple scrolls to make sure that he's always ready to die for his team, no matter where the team fight breaks out. Sven picking up the Hyperstone, as well as crit, lifesteal, BKB. The BKB is down to 6 charges though, so he got the BKB in relatively good timing, but as a result of that, he's been popping the charges for every team fight, which has been pretty frequent here 30 minutes into the game. And so the charges are starting to run low. He's got one more before he hits that basement in the form of 5 seconds. But Team Gemini grouping up, ready to smoke again. They're like, hey, it worked for us last time. We got 2 free kills out of it. They draw out 2 different routes. They ultimately decide on the closer route. And it looks like they are going to find a Pudge, who force staffs and Glimmer Capes away. But Zeus is there, Dust is there. They surround him. He's not going to be able to get out of this one. Or is he? He's running back to the safety of his allies. But a stun comes out from Sven, the ultimate from Zeus. Lion fingers down the axe, which almost instantly kills him. And they're able to drop 3 before the fight really engages. They catch out Winter Wyvern as well. And Sand King, who I heard channeling his ult there, decides, nope, not worth it. I'm getting back. We need to have at least one person here to defend his base. So he may have been able to catch out one person with his ult, but not enough to even drop anyone. Everyone's sitting at full health.
Tower is under attack.
And it looks like they're ready to push high ground. Treant still has his ult. Witch Doctor still has his. Rest of the ults on the Radiant side are down, but doesn't matter. This tier 1 tower is going to fall. They're pinging out the racks, and they want those. They'll probably be able to get it if they play carefully here. Winter's throwing out a little bit of harass. Axe pinging it out, and they're looking to engage. Sand King jumps in, gets a 2-hero stun, but Sven popping. I don't know what he popped. I don't think he popped anything. I think he's just doing massive amounts of damage now. Winter trying to save his Pudge, and that's the benefit of Winter's Embrace there against the hero like Sven. They're not able to do much. That's the last charge of Sven's BKB, but it doesn't matter. He pops his God Strength, and he's not even focusing on the Winter Wyvern. He's focusing on the Pudge, but Winter's just close enough that the cleave's hitting, so Winter explodes. They take the tier 2 tower. Zeus is down, but that's another multiple deaths from Here Comes the Cobra, and the first set of racks are down. Team Gemini looking much stronger in Game 2 than they did in Game 1. They leave behind, in place of the tower, an observer ward of their own. Provide them a little friendly vision inside the enemy base.
Better than a Buddhist.
Dyer's bottom tower has fallen.
After a brief dip there, is Cobra Boys try to recover from the gold lead that Team Gemini was sitting on. It skyrockets to about 12,000 gold in favor of Team Gemini, who take this time to finish off Roshan, and it'll probably go into the inventory of Sven as he drops his magic wand. The net worth, this is definitely feeling like a 4 Protect 1 strategy. Just putting all their eggs in the Sven basket, and it's working for them. There's so many stuns on Team Gemini that it's difficult for Cobra Boys to kind of work their way through that. They don't have a BKB on Slark. They don't have a BKB on Axe. They don't have a BKB on Pudge. They don't have a BKB on Sand King. So no BKBs yet on the Dire side. It looks like several of them are working towards it. Axe is working towards it. I'm going to presume that's what this is. Yep. Slark's just finished his. And Pudge has his as well. He's working towards it. He'll have it soon. Pudge may have bought the BKB recipe instead of the Mithril Hammer.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Just to protect some of his gold, some of his reliable gold. So if they do finish all 3 of those BKBs, I'll be interested to see how that goes.
Tower is under attack.
Sven, with the backing of his allies, pushes high ground, pops his God Strength, starts just taking huge chunks out of towers, Pudge lands a hook against the Tramp Protector, who's still not down. Slark dives into the enemy territory. He's trying to get a few kills, gets some, but pays with his life. Sand King coming in with his ult. It connects, but it's not enough. They get vision with the Zeus. Buyback from the Pudge, as it seems like he's the only one who's going to be around. Yep, no more buybacks. Got 40 gold sitting on Slark, so... And GG is called. I missed it. But that's going to be game 2 of Cobra Boys versus Team Gemini. Final score, 1-1. Well played by both teams. I think that second game, Team Gemini figured out the method of the madness there, and they picked up a lot more stuns, and they decided, you know what, if they're going to team fight, they're going to have to do so with a stutter step, because we are going to stun them with every single hero we have. They played a 4 Protect 1, and it paid off. Sven finishing the game with a 15-2 record with 13 assists. That's more assists and far more kill involvement than anybody on the side of Here Comes the Cobra. Also had 175 last hits, which was pretty good. Slark trying his best to snowball and constantly be in one of those off lanes, playing some Rat Dota and stuff like that. If he had been with the team in the earlier encounters, I don't know how much that would have even helped him. Slark in the very early stages of the game isn't the strongest hero. His Shadow Dance doesn't last very long. His attack speed's not high enough to really mutilate those other heroes before he comes back into visibility. And playing a Slark into a bunch of stuns and into a Zeus who can see you if you're just using your Shadow Blade hurts. It sucks. So that's it for me. My name is Darmin. This is Darmin Cast. Please feel free to follow the channel, twitch.tv/DarminCast. And I hope to see you guys around for future AD2L games. And I will see you guys around. Thanks.